be really specific, work on your prompts, take your time, and again, use ChatGPT, use Gemini, whatever, to help you develop your prompts. The amount of time I wasted going back and forth, like having conversations, especially for the image generation, and it creates a new image. And I'm like, that's still not what I was wanting. That's still not what I was asking for. Save yourself the time and write yourself a really good prompt.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to How I Use AI. This is the podcast where we talk to real people getting real results using AI. So not people who are AI trainers, not people who are selling AI tools, real people doing a range of different jobs. And we want to know about what sort of things they're really liking, what sort of things they're not liking, to save you time and to inspire you. So in this episode, we're going to be talking to Georgia Palmer, who is medical editor at RFA, and she also runs an independent yoga business. So first of all, very warm welcome, Georgia. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, yeah, it's a delight to have you. So let's kick off. I'm really interested, first of all, you've got these two very, very different roles. They're kind of very much in person, physical. You couldn't get much more physical than a yoga teacher role. And then you've got kind of the medical editor role, which is so much more digital. Could you tell me about how you're using AI in each of those worlds and what sort of tools you're using?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with the yoga business first. So I am an independent yoga teacher. I freelance and I teach classes around London, but also around the world and in retreats and things like that. And AI, so I've been teaching now for about 5 or 6 years. And when I started getting more into AI through my day job a couple of years ago, I was like, right, how can I be using this to help me in my business as well? There's a few different ways that I've really found it useful. First of all, obviously, when you're running a business, you need to be talking to your clients and keeping in contact with them via email, for me, it's like Instagram, but also LinkedIn, things like that. And using AI to help with that has been amazing. So I know you're a big fan of this as well, but Claude for kind of human sounding copy is amazing. So I have been using Claude to help develop like my newsletters and help develop kind of when I'm promoting a new event, kind of using that to sort of use my tone of voice to basically show my clients what's upcoming. So that's one aspect.
Have you given examples of your tone of voice? Do you find that's the best way? Yeah, it's a really good way. And a lot of people don't think about doing that, do they? They try to maybe describe tone of voice. They say, I want to sound friendly and human, and we all just use the same words. So yeah, a top tip for people listening or watching, upload loads of examples of your tone of voice. It's really good, especially Claude. Claude's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think we think that we know what our tone of voice is, and sometimes actually Claude or other LLMs are actually really good at being like, oh no, you talk like this, or like you have this kind of informal tone when you talk about this, but actually when you're talking about like logistics, it's very formal and things like that I wouldn't even pick up myself. So yeah, exactly, making sure I kind of have collated all my previous newsletters, uploaded those, and helping me to develop my next newsletter. But interestingly, it's weird. I use Claude so much for developing those sort of things for ages. And then I've kind of gone a little bit of full circle in that I'm enjoying writing them from scratch again and then using LLM. At the moment, I'm kind of just really enjoying ChatGPT to then review my work and check that I'm not missing anything, to check that I'm not, I haven't got any editing errors, which would be very embarrassing as an editor to have errors in my newsletters. But I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like I'm using it slightly differently than I did a year or two ago for developing my kind of like written content for my clients.
Yeah, it really does change. I found exactly the same thing. And I don't think I've ever mentioned that to anyone before. So it's really interesting you said that. Because like when you put you find a way of doing it, and it kind of makes you miss the creative way of thinking, doesn't it? And however good it is, and it is good, and it can get you a lot of the way, it's still never yours. It's never got those kind of quirky little digressions and
Mm.
little way. I feel like it represents how you feel at that moment as well. It can be your mood as well, with extremely with newsletters as well. I used to spend 4 hours every Sunday writing mine, and it was
Mhm.
it was so different every week depending on what had happened. And I feel like that really gets people kind of empathizing with you. But yeah, I've flipped as well sometimes, but then I sometimes go back and I know that I can get like 80% of the way there if I'm really rushed. But there's
Yeah.
certain things like my LinkedIn post, I would never, that to me is always written from scratch because it's kind of
Mhm.
cathartic. And I don't
Yeah.
think AI can mimic that yet. But it's good for ideas. So there's like that whole writing process, isn't there? The ideation, the copywriting, the editing, the kind of content strategy before that. There's so many other ways it can help. It doesn't have to be the writing, does it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's and I think that's the way that I've kind of shifted it. Seeing it as like, okay, great, this is going to take this job away from me. But actually now I'm seeing it very much as a tool that's going to help me either develop it or hone it down, make it even better, rather than just like doing it for me. But again, that might change. Like if I life gets really busy again, like I might actually be really happy for it to kind of take over for a bit. So yeah, there's that element. So last year I took some time out from like my corporate job, and I traveled around and taught yoga and retreats. And
Sounds cool.
I yeah, it was fun. And one of the like biggest questions was like, right, where am I gonna go? How am I gonna find these retreats to work at? And how do I identify the places that I want to work and who will employ me? So I use ChatGPT. Actually, I might have been on my Gemini kind of phase. I was enjoying Gemini and ChatGPT, but basically using the research function to identify retreats in areas. I'd be like, roughly, I know I want to teach in Namibia, for example, but I don't really know many places in Namibia. And obviously, I could Google search and could go through loads of different sort of pages and pages of trying to find yoga retreats in those areas. But using ChatGPT or Gemini deep research to identify those locations, give me the contact details. I want to send them an email. I want to arrange a call with them. I want to chat to them, and that was just so much quicker.
Yeah.
And I guess a tip for that as well is making sure in my prompt I was really specific about what I wanted and what I needed in the output. So I didn't just kind of want to go anywhere in any retreat. I wanted to make sure I was teaching in a place that had certain scenery, or they have certain offerings for their clients. They have certain types of yoga that they want people to take part in. So yeah, just making sure I was really specific with ChatGPT what I wanted the output for. But that research option was amazing.
It's so good, isn't it? And I speak about this quite a lot. I was doing a session earlier on deep research, and it's like a completely separate tool, isn't it? And it's just there, I think, because people see it as a little button. So if people don't know what we're talking about when we're saying this, in ChatGPT, in Gemini, in Claude, there is a little button that says deep research, or you might have to click the plus button to get onto it. And that gets you into this whole new mode, which is like a team of researchers. They go out, takes about 15 minutes, comes back and gives you a good report. If you're a Copilot user, you go onto agents. You need 365. You go onto agents and you click researcher, and that's how it kind of works on there. But it's so cool. But like you say, you have to be so specific. So I'm working on a bit of a deep research skeleton prompt, but I find being really specific about your sources, the where you want the sources to come from, what age the sources are, and remind it of what date you're at, because it doesn't know the date. It doesn't know what date you're at. So that's always a good top tip, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Yeah. And I think also it's a slight detour, but into like how I use deep research in my day-to-day job. So I work in a medical marketing agency, and I did a training session for the company the other week about deep research, and it is wild the amount of people that don't know it's there. And like you say, it's just this little button, but yeah, it's amazing. It can be in a kind of more like corporate setting. It can be so useful. So we were using it to kind of be like, what are our competitors doing? Like, what are some amazing campaigns that have been out in the world? In, for example, if you work in oncology, like what's kind of like amazing in that world at the moment, and using that deep research. So yeah, I think it's incredible for that, and it's kind of you've described it as like having a team of PhD researchers working for you, and doing it in 10 minutes. So yeah, would highly recommend that as well.
It's very, very cool, isn't it? And I think it's kind of a bit of a side question. Obviously, working in medical, very
Mm.
highly regulated. A
Yeah.
lot of my clients, banks, pharma, that type of area, really highly regulated, and they're so reluctant to try AI because of those reasons. What would be your response to people saying, "I don't want to try AI. I work in a regulated industry"? How would you answer that question?
I think there's kind of a two-part answer here. The first one, any tool that you're using, obviously make sure you have enterprise level. Kind of don't use any free tools, or don't put any client information or anything you wouldn't want out into the internet for the internet to see. Don't put that into any kind of free tool. So, by making sure you have enterprise level protection, is it, of any tool that you're using. So we make sure that we have the enterprise level protection in ChatGPT, which is the main kind of tool that we use within the company. And then the other part to it is that I would say you still need a human. It's an amazing tool, but you can't rely on it 100%. I think, yeah, it's kind of like it's a really amazing tool to be using, but you always need to be checking it. Right now, that might change in the future, but right now, for an example, I've created a custom GPT in ChatGPT, where she's called Sally the Substantiator.
Oh, I like
So I put in a claim that I want to have in one of my in a document that I'm working on, but I can't find the reference. I know that there's a part of the reference that supports that claim, but I can't find it or I could spend a while reading through lots of different references, but I've set up a custom GPT, so you just upload the references that you'd use, and then ask it to pull out the exact text that supports the claim that you're making. Um, but a caveat, like always be checking that manually yourself. Like, it's great that it pulls out the text that you want it to use, but then I'm always checking. I'm making sure you're not hallucinating and you do have that text within the reference.
yeah.
Because yeah, so I think making sure that you're being really on it with checking sources is super important as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's wonderful. I think people mention human in the loop, don't they? They talk
Mm.
about, there's a few different analogies. One's human in the loop. I love Kerry Harrison's "It's like a sandwich." So you've got like the top slice of bread is a human, AI in the middle, and then you've got a human at the bottom. So human instructing, human always checking. Regardless, you kind of need a human all the way around AI. It's not something that you just give it a task and then it goes off and does its own thing. But we as humans, we are lazy. If we see a way that we can get away with something, and I also think a lot of people don't realize hallucinations exist or bias exists. So they're just going to create this stuff that is like 20%, 30% factually incorrect or contradicts itself. So I think we can use AI to help us do that. And I love that Sally the Substantiator. I think that's such a clever idea to help to make that process easier and to make it part of your workflow as well. So first we do this, we generate this, then we check it, and then we run it through Sally. And I think that's really it mirrors quite a lot of the things that I'm doing. I'm not working in as regulated an industry, of course, but my own workflows really include a lot of those checks. So AI can solve a lot of the problems that AI creates if you're clever about it. So I think that's such a good idea.
Yeah. No,
Wonderful.
exactly. And I do find, I don't know if you find similar, but I do find using the deep research function, the sources that ChatGPT finds is, I'd say 9 times out of 10 accurate, and it doesn't hallucinate anywhere near as much as it does in the normal chat you have with ChatGPT. So that's another, something that I've definitely noticed. If I want anything that's like, I need to be making sure that it's not making things up, deep research is much better. I mean, it's not 100%. You still need to be checking it, but it's better than the normal sort of conversation with ChatGPT.
Definitely. And I find Gemini checks so many more sources than ChatGPT does. So many more, it's like hundreds versus tens. So I feel like Gemini is so much more powerful, but Gemini's output can be inconsistent. So ChatGPT pretty much know what you're going to get. Gemini could be one day amazing and the next day like really bad. So yeah.
It's so weird. It's weird how they have good days and bad days like humans.
Yeah, it's just a lot of AI is like humans, isn't it? We're biased, we lie, we sometimes miss the point. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So I think so we've covered quite a lot, but I think, are there any lessons you think you've learned? Is there any way you think you wasted a lot of time or had any misconceptions around AI use and that could be used to kind of advise others and save them from making the same mistakes?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Like it's such a, it's been, I think, it's just been such a steep learning curve, the world of AI. And I think the one that comes to mind is image generation. I think for so long, I was prompting image and creating images so badly. And I think that's something that I've definitely learned very quickly, that and again, it's the quality of your prompt. Everything is down to the quality of your prompt. But I think basically making sure that when I'm creating an image, I'm so specific about what I need from it, what I need from ChatGPT or whatever program you're using, whatever LLM you're using. I think that's like a key learning, is be really specific, work on your prompts, take your time, and again, use ChatGPT, use Gemini, whatever, to help you develop your prompts. And because I think the amount of time I wasted going back and forth, like having conversations, especially for the image generation, because it takes them a while to create a new image, and it creates a new image, and I'm like, no, that's still not what I was wanting. That's still not what I was asking for. Save yourself the time and write yourself a really good prompt from the get-go. And yeah, I've built a custom GPT called Polly the Prompter, prompt partner, basically putting in like my rubbish prompt of, I really want to create an image of a person standing with their brain kind of showing and it's like my kind of like brain spiel kind of going in, and then Polly the prompter, I've trained her to kind of like make that really detailed, really obvious to the LLM what you need from it, and that's a tool that I've rolled out in the company and is so popular. People love using that because we're also often very tight on time, and whatever can help us use these tools more efficiently is brilliant, I think.
It's so clever. I love what you've done. I love that it's rolled out in the company as well. And like you say, even though it can understand us conversationally, we can put anything and that's not the best way for it to. So what we might assume or other humans would understand around the words we're saying, computers don't. We're still talking to a machine here. So that level of detail is so much higher than we would when we're talking to a computer. So I think it's fantastic. That's wonderful. Yeah. There's so much inspiration there, Georgia. Thank you so very much for joining us. Yes, and that's it. So we've got Sally the Substantiator. We have, was it Polly, the prompt perfecter?
Yeah.
Yeah, Polly the prompt. So using AI, often if you come into problems with AI, try to use AI to get yourself out of it. AI can help you prompt. AI can help you understand where hallucinations might have happened. It can help you check that things are factually correct. I think that's such good learning for people and such good inspiration. So thank you so very much. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you.